Hi, this is Rich at WorkshopAddict.com. This is the third and final part of our Ultimate Miter Bench series. And today we're going to cover the review of the actual miter saw that I chose for this project, which is the Festool Kapex KS120. Now I chose this saw for three different reasons. Number one, I've been using Festool products for about 15 years and it's all worked flawlessly, so that was important. Secondly, Festool has the reputation in the industry for the best dust collection. I don't think there's too many people that will dispute that. Festool claims that this will collect up to 91% of all the dust depending on the cut. And finally, the footprint of the saw was important to me. It has a forward rail design which allows me to push it back against the wall when I'm done. So I use the saw, I remove my vest fence system from FastCap, hang it on the wall, and I can push it back out of the way. So that was part of the design criteria and quite important. I'll cover a few of the basic specs for the saw. First of all, it's got a 260 millimeter blade, which is basically a 10-inch saw, 10.23 to be exact. Has a 1600 watt, 13 amp motor that's MMC controlled, which is Festool's control that allows soft start and speed control. There's a little knob up here on the top that you can adjust, and the speed is variable on the motor down as low as 1400 RPM all the way up to 3400 depending on the material you're trying to cut. The capacities of the saw is not as good as some of the bigger 12-inch saws on the market. It's definitely comparable to the 10s, but I'll give you some of the basic specs. It will cut a 12-inch deep piece of stock, 3 and 15-30 seconds tall. At a left or right bevel, it'll still cut that same height, but the depth is reduced to 8 and 15-30 seconds. Now, I'll give you extremes. For compound cuts, it's going to be greater than this. This would be the smallest it would cut. To the left, it still cuts that same 8 and 15-30 seconds by 2 1/8 inches tall. To the right, it cuts 8 and 15-30 seconds by 1 3/8 inches. It's a little more reduced on that side because you've got the motor arbor over there that gets in the way. Now, the maximum bevel is 47 degrees in either direction, and it will miter 50 degrees to the left and 60 to the right. It has detents that are located at 15, 22.5, 30, and 45. And that works by pressing down this button on the top, and you can move to the next detent, so on and so forth. And if you want to lock the saw down in place, you just push that down. The saw also has little green indicators here, and those are half-degree marks. So if you line those up on a mark on either side of one of your miter marks here, you pick up a half degree. It's a pretty nice scale. Matter of fact, you could probably dial it down to a 1/4 degree pretty easily. The saw will cut nested crown up to 6 5/8 tall. So if you do crown molding, that's the capacity. And it also has what they call a special cut depth, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. But there's a little lever over here that puts the saw into a special mode and allows you to tall miter. And by tall miter, I mean you can then cut baseboards up to 4 and 23/30 seconds tall by 3/4 of an inch deep. Anything taller than that, you would need to lay down and make the cut using the bevel mode. The base on this is magnesium. It's got kind of a web design to it, so it's not overly thick. It keeps the weight down. It weighs in at just 47 pounds. It's actually pretty easy to carry, and I don't think that's totally because of the weight. It's so much their design. If you rotate the thing clear around to one side, my angle finger's getting in the way. If you rotate it clear to one side, the depth of the saw is really shallow here, And they've got a handle back here, and you grab it up front and you can carry the thing. And because it's shallow, you're holding all that weight close to your body compared to some of the other saws that hang clear out. So that makes a lot of difference. I was quite surprised how easy it was to move around. So if you're a contractor and you need to tote one of these things around, this is going to be a lot easier to carry than like the Bosch 12-inch glide saw, which would be something you definitely want to put on a cart and move around. The dust port on the back, I have a 36mm hose connected. It will also take the 27mm. The dust collection performance is much better with the larger hose, so if that's important to you, I would make sure you got the 36mm version of the hose. It comes with a couple Allen wrenches. The blade change Allen stores in the back. It stays with the saw all the time. The small one here is for adjusting the lasers. There's 3 different holes here on each side of for the laser on the blade. You've got a left laser and a right laser, so there's a total of 6 adjustments. So the small Allen is for that, as well as there's a couple Allen stops back here that keep the fences from sliding completely off. You've got a stop here, and if you need to remove those fences, which you will if you're making extreme compound cuts, bevel all the way to one side or miter all the way to one side, these fences are going to get in the way, and you need to run these screws down to allow these fences to come off. The saw comes with a really nice blade. I don't think there's another manufacturer that ships a better blade with the saw, and it also comes with what they call an angle finder, which I'll talk about that a little more later. The options available for the saw are a Kapex stand that's got wheels on it. They have left and right extensions that bolt into these factory V guides. I currently have ASCAP Kapex adapters in here so I can attach their fence, but Festool offers extensions that are pretty nice, and it allows their clamps to slide in it. I like that a lot. They also use crown molding stops or adapters in those same extensions. I really do not like that part about the Festool product, because you can't add fence extensions to those little short left and right extensions with the crown. And when I'm cutting crown, I want to make sure I've got lots of fence on both sides, so it's kind of either or. When you buy Festool's left or right extensions, the full extensions, they will not attach to these little small ones that the crown molding stops go on. They offer 4 different blades for the saw, 3 besides the one that's on it. And on the side of the saw, Festool actually has color codes, yellow, red, green, and blue for the different types of materials. And they also give you a speed recommendation. So when you want to make your cut, you can dial the speed control into whatever the recommended speed for that material is, whether it's aluminum or hardwood. So it's kind of nice to have a little indication there. So that's the basic features on the saw. I'll show you how some of the different controls operate on here, and we'll start on the left side, and then I'll come back over to the right side and show you how everything works. And at the end of this review, if you stick around, I'll kind of give you my ideas on pros and cons, the things I really like and the things that I think suck about the saw. So anyhow, let's take a look at all the options on this side of the saw. You will notice that most all the important functions, controls, and indicator on the Kapex saw are high visibility bright green. We'll start here at the top. There's the trigger, which is a 2-part design. You need to press both of these partially to lower the blade. Without that, this is locked in place, so the blade will not lower and the blade guard will not retract. So to operate the saw, you depress these partially, pull it down towards your stock and continue to squeeze the trigger, which starts the saw. This is what they call a fast fix, and when you push this in and rotate it, it does two things. One, it will not allow you to start the saw for safety reasons, but it also locks the blade, so you can take the blade tool and remove the blade. So that's the fast fix function. I mentioned earlier they have a tall miter option, and you invoke that by pulling down on this lever, pushing the saw back, and it locks it in place, so it will no longer slide. And now you have some additional cutting capacity in here. If you're doing baseboards or something tall, it will give you a little extra depth up to 4 23/32 by 3/4 of an inch deep. That's the maximum capacity. So if you need to miter a piece of baseboard that's taller than that, you're going to have to lay it down and use the bevel function on the saw to make that cut. To release that, there's a little button up here, and that is how you take it out of tall miter function. On the back, this is our bevel control. This locks it. When we flip it up, we are now in the unlocked position. And I'm going to swing this around so you can see it. You'll notice there's a knob here with a double arrow, and this actually controls our bevel. It's a real nice micro adjust function. And in the first mode, it will go 45 degrees to the left, and it's a perfect stop. It's calibrated to 45, and when we come back, it stops at 0. The next function is 45 either way. So we've got a precision 45 degree stop to the left, a precision 45 degree stop to the right, but there is no stop at 0. The third and final function is 47 degrees, which gives you 2 additional degrees either way. So if you got something that's out of square and you need to bevel just a little more, you can do that. So it gives you 47 degrees. We'll flip it back and come back up our 0 stop, flip that lever down, and we are in the 0 to 45 mode, and it's locked in position. There's 3 more controls on this side. First of all, we got a black knob that locks the saw from sliding on the rail. There's a couple reasons you'd want to do that. Number one, it turns it into just a normal chop saw if you don't want to use the slide function. And secondly, if you're going to transport the saw, you don't want it sliding back and forth on the rail, so you lock that down. Also, there's a little button down here on the bottom. You lower the head and you push that back, and it locks the head in the lower position. Something else you want to do while transporting the saw. One of the features I didn't think I would really use is this trenching function. And what this does is limits how far down the blade goes, and you can adjust that. As you can see, I'm lowering it down to the table and I'm raising it up. That is good for making little dados, and if you got to cut a quick tenon on the end of something, you know, instead of setting up the dado stack in your table saw, you can do it on the Kapex, or if you're out in the field, you may not have a table saw. So that works really nice. One of the issues with that, and this is common to other saws, the arbor sits forward of the fence. So when you go to make a dado, the blade doesn't go far enough back to go clear out the back of the board cleanly. So you need to put a piece of 2-inch stock behind whatever you're cutting to make that dado go all the way through. Now if you're cutting a board that's the full capacity of the Kapex, you really can't give up 2 inches on the back. So you can actually make your dado, which will leave an arc in the back, and then flip the board around the other direction and clean that last 2 inches out. It will work. I mean, it's not ideal, but if you're out in the field or you don't want to set up your table saw, that is definitely a good way to do it. There's a couple more levers on the back here that allow the fence to slide back and forth. We've got a little Allen bolt on the end of each one, and that Allen is this size here, same as the laser adjustment. and that Allen keeps the fence rails, the extensions, from sliding off. So if you need to take those off, you need to run that Allen down about 3 turns so it's down low enough, and then this fence will actually slide off. I'm probably just going to leave these things in the down position and be careful, you know, that I don't pull them off too far, but that's how they work. As I mentioned, the saw comes with an angle finder, and that's a really pretty neat thing. If you're, say, putting baseboard down on an inside corner, you can go in and you put this on the inside of your wall, lock it down, and this sets your angle. You know, maybe 88 degrees or 91 degrees. It's probably not perfect. So you do that and you bring it back and you turn on the laser for the saw, and you rotate it around until the laser lines up on these marks on this angle finder. This also works on outside corners. Same deal there. You just adjust it until this meets the meets your wall, or if you're doing crown on cabinets, same thing. Lock it down. You push these back, and you come back and do the same thing. So that eliminates you know, the trial and error where you cut a little less angle and you continually sneak up on it until you get it perfect. That works pretty nice. Speaking of lasers, there's a button up here on the top to actuate the laser. You press that and the laser comes on, and will stay on for several minutes and time out and shut off. Or you can push the button again and shut it off yourself. It has a laser on the left and the right side of the blade, and I found it to be extremely accurate. Unfortunately, mine was a mile off out of the box, and I had to get in there with this little Allen and make adjustments. There's 3 different adjustments for the left laser and 3 for the right, and get those things set up perfectly, which can be a little bit of a chore because it's not just a matter of getting it to line up you know, with the top of the table here, but it needs to line up on all different planes. You know, it could actually be tipped this direction and look perfect on the table, but by the time you get a piece of, you know, 2-inch stock in there, it's going to be off. So you need to get it trued up, and they've got 3 different planes to do that. Okay, it's a fantastic product. I guess the things I dislike about it is the price. You know, it's probably, if you're not counting exotic saws, it's the most expensive miter saw that you can purchase. You know, it's about $1,400. You know, you might catch a sale every once in a while, but it's not going to happen often. And Festool dealers stick to their price, so plan on spending $1,400 compared to, you know, the Bosch glide saw is in the $800 range, and you know, you can get a regular DeWalt that doesn't do slide for $3 something. So there's a significant difference. Is it worth the money? It depends what you do. If you're building decks, I'd say no. If you're doing high-end trim work and dust collection is important, then, you know, you be the judge of that. It, you know, it's not double the saw for some people, but if you do quality work and you need to keep your mess to a minimum with good dust collection, then it may pay for itself. Another thing I don't like, as I mentioned earlier, I do not like the crown stops on these, just because I can't add fence to it, and I think that's pretty important. Matter of fact, I have Festool, or excuse me, Fastcap's crown stops, and these things are pretty nice because they drop underneath the best fence system and lock in place. You can put one on each side, you can attach wood to them. I mean, they work quite well. The other thing I do not like is the laser button is up here. And part of the problem is I have this mounted fairly high to clear everything in my shop. So I really can't see it. So I got to kind of fumble around and feel for it. So if it was lower, on a lower table, it might be better, but I honestly don't understand why they just don't make it work with the trigger. I just assume the thing turned on all the time because it does work well. As I mentioned, the rails slide back and forth. I do not like the fact that there's no place to store this little Allen wrench. You need this Allen to run these screws down to remove the fences. That should self-store on the saw, but it doesn't. I wish they had an option for a zero clearance insert. I'm using Fast Cap, I believe they call it zero clearance tape, and that's the yellow that you see here. Normally this is a black piece of plastic, and that eliminates tear out on the back. But one of the things that I find a little bit annoying about this saw is there's enough of a gap there without this tape that if I'm trimming something off, the small cutoffs fall down in here. And because Festool's done a really good job self-containing all this for dust collection, it just stays there. So you end up taking a little screwdriver and picking things out. And I dislike doing that for obvious reasons. So the zero clearance tape works quite well, and it'd be nice if Festool had an option for a zero clearance insert. I know there are third-party companies that have those for sale, but I really haven't checked it out. One of the other things I forgot to mention that the saw does come with is this hold down, and it actually works. You put the thing in backwards, flip it around, and it's got a cam action here, and that thing locks down, and it does a good job. It's easy to get out of the way. Most of the ones that I've used, you crank them down, they're in the way. This thing is pretty nice. Festool did a good job on that. The things I like about the saw that I think is pretty cool, Festool thinks of a lot of different things. Their sustainers that tools and various things come in are available in various sizes, and the Sustainer 1, which is a common size, is exactly the same height as the table on the Kapex. So if you need to make some quick cuts, you can pull it out of the truck, put the Kapex on the ground, put a Sustainer on either side, and you've basically got some fence extensions, or be able to at least hold your material up. So that's pretty neat. They also did the same thing with their Kapex MFT table. The Kapex version is a little lower than the regular MFT table by this much. So when you put the saw on the Kapex MFT3 table, this is the same height as the regular MFT3. So you can have a table on either side. If you have your shop set up with MFTs, it works extremely well because everything planes across. They also put holes in here so you can add a sacrificial fence to the existing fences, which I plan to do. They did a nice job on the cord storage on the back. It's easy to wrap the cord up in the handle there, and it is easy to move around. All in all, fantastic product. I don't like the price. I seriously battled between, I had a DeWalt before, and it's worked many years. It wasn't nearly as accurate as this saw. And I will say that, I went down to Acme. I looked at the Bosch, I looked at the DeWalt, I looked at the Makitas. I thought, $500 extra is ridiculous over the, the Bosch glide saw. But on the other hand, Festool does have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If I'm not happy with it, or I really don't think it's worth the extra money, I'll just take it back. So I got the thing home and I set it up, and it wasn't until I made that first cut that I knew there was something really nice about the saw. I mean, until you pull the trigger on the thing and start using it, you really can't appreciate how well it works, because you know, looking at stuff in the store, playing with the trigger, it just really doesn't feel like it's any better of a unit. Matter of fact, the Bosch probably felt better, you know, the way the trigger worked, which is a little odd on this, and things like that. But when you put this thing into action, there is no doubt it's a quality piece, like all other Festool products, and the dust collection does work. This is Rich at WorkshopAddict.com.